So hello, Marcus Miller.
Hello.
We're very happy to have you here at La Scène Musicale in Paris.
Thank you.
So first of all, can you just tell us, how did you get your passion for jazz and for bass? When did you start?
I started playing the bass when I was 13. I was already playing the piano and the clarinet, but then I fell in love with soul music in the 1970s.
Yeah.
And there was no clarinets in soul music. So I was looking for an instrument to play. And my friend who lived in the same apartment building, for his birthday, he got a bass. And so I played a couple of notes and said, oh, I love this. This is going to be my instrument. And I ended up going to his house every day until his family was very tired of me coming there. And then I asked my mom to get me one, and then I was on my way.
And when did you know that you wanted to be on stage for a living? Because it's not the same to play and to...
I had just been playing for a few months, and I was in a singing group, you know what I mean? And we, just to have people react to something that you love, because I was doing music because I loved it already, but just to see people react, what's better than that? You're enjoying it, people around you are enjoying it. It's just, it was an incredible feeling.
And I think your father had to stop music. When did you know that you would like to do that as a career, and there was no other option for you to do live music?
Well, my dad, he stopped on his journey to become like a professional musician, but he played in church, he played for weddings, funerals. He was a local musician, you know what I mean? But for me, it was the late 70s, and everybody needed music. The DJs weren't so popular, and music wasn't made with computers. So every event you had to play for parties, you had to play for everything. And then somebody invited me to a recording session, if you do a lot of recording sessions, particularly at that time, you had to read music because studio time was very expensive. So they didn't have time for the musicians to play the song 13 times before they could play it correctly, right? So because I played classical clarinet, I could read music very well. So once the word got out that I could read music and play the bass, well, all of a sudden my phone was ringing. It was crazy. By the time I was 21, I was in the studio every day, all day long, playing for different people.
And when did Miles Davis happen in all these stories?
I've been doing recording sessions in New York for a couple of years. And then he came out of retirement. He was in retirement for maybe 5 years.
Okay.
He didn't play a note for a long time, but then he decided to come back, and he was looking for young musicians. And the first musician he found was a saxophone player, a young saxophone player named Bill Evans. I mean, there was a famous piano player named Bill Evans who had played with Miles earlier, but this is saxophonist Bill Evans. And Miles said to Bill, who's the new young funky bass player here in New York? And Bill said, you got to call Marcus. So I called Bill. I talked to Bill Evans last week. I said, again, thank you, one more time, thank you.
And then you've played with a lot of international artists from jazz, soul, funk, R&B. Are there new artists that keep influencing you today?
Yeah, there's, I love a lot of musicians, the younger musicians who are on the scene. I love Robert Glasper's music. I really like Corey Henry on the funky side. There's a young bass player named Mono Neon who's really doing some wonderful things. So it's really important for me to keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and continue to be inspired by other musicians.
And how and what inspired you for your last album, Laid Black, that you will probably play tonight, I guess?
Laid Black was inspired by a lot of things. Mostly I wanted to see if I could make something really, really funky, and incorporate some more hip hop elements, because before that I had been working with a lot of African elements in my music. and I wanted to get back to and see if I could, jazz and hip hop is a tricky thing, but I thought I would give it a try. I had done jazz and hip hop in the 90s. I had an album called Tales, which used a lot of hip hop beats, but hip hop has changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Since then. So I decided, hey, let me try it again. So I had a really nice time doing that.
And you have a lot of guests in this album. Will you have some guests in France tonight, or is it complicated?
Well, I have some new musicians that I'm going to present to Paris tomorrow night.
Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, one's name is David Shiverton, and he's a drummer that is really, really super talented. He's been around for, not so long, but he's already, they gave him a teaching professor job at a University of Miami, you know what I mean? So, which is a very famous music school. So everybody respects him, and I'm excited for people to see him. He does a lot of big pop gigs in the arenas, but he can also play in a very creative way, you know what I mean? So, and then Terry Lynn Carrington just introduced me to this young pianist. Her name is Alexis Lombre, and I'm really excited for people to hear her because I don't think people have seen this lady yet. And she's very, very talented. And we've been talking on the phone about, have you been to Paris? She said, yes, we traveled as a group one time, and she speaks French also. So I'm excited to present her.
And do you prefer to play in big arenas, big festivals, or do you prefer intimate venues?
In intimate venues, people can see your face, they can see your emotions, But in big venues, the vibe is so huge, you know what I mean? The first thing you have to learn or remember or realize when you're playing a big venue is don't try to play big, because first you feel like, I gotta, to play to all these people. But no, you have to stay within yourself and let the sound engineer make the sound available to everybody. But that was a long time ago. I mean, I still do that, but just because it's fun, you know what I mean? But for the most part, you want to really still stay musical and within yourself.
And if there was one concert in your life that you would like your audience to remember, your once in a lifetime concert, which one was it?
Oh.
One memory.
Well, I have a lot of memories, but I remember playing, I think it's called Le Châtelet. It's an old theater and it's on the River Seine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was my first time in Paris, and we were playing with Miles.
Okay.
And the theater was very old, and the electricity stopped.
Oh.
In the middle of the show, well, towards the end of the show, the electricity stopped. And I'm playing the electric bass. Mike Stern is playing the electric guitar. So we have nothing to do, right? Miles continues to play. And he played with no amplification, and it's a big hall. Yeah. But it's a French audience, very respectful, and it's Miles Davis, so they're very quiet. And he's playing these little small notes, and you could hear it, and it's really beautiful, And then Miles was finished. But I'm standing there, so I say to Bill Evans, he was playing his small saxophone, his soprano saxophone. I say, hey man, can I play your tenor saxophone? Because I can't play the bass. So he goes, yeah. So I start playing what I would play on the bass guitar, I played on the tenor saxophone. Okay. So Miles finished playing, and he comes, and he's standing with his back to the audience, and he's staring at me. He's right here. And I go, oh, I don't think he likes this, And and finally, he just takes the horn, and he takes it out of my mouth, and he puts it on the table. So now I look like a child who just got, scolded by his parent, like this. And he goes to me, aren't you gonna play the bass? And I said, I can't play the bass. He goes, why not? I said, the electricity is off. He goes, really?
He didn't realize.
I said, you didn't realize that the electricity was off? He said, no, I just thought the band had decided to play very softly. he, you know, and I tell that story because, you know, for him, it's all creative. So, and he accepts everything, right? Herbie Hancock is the same way. So when the electricity went off, Miles just thought, oh, the band decided that they want to play a soft moment. But he never questioned it, you know? Herbie Hancock's the same way. When you play a wrong note with Herbie Hancock, he finds another way to play to make your note correct, you know? But I remember that concert.
That's a great.
There's many more, but we don't have time.